I love Marie Kondo's philosophy that it's not just about cleaning out a closet, but it's about making peace with your past. And she has the belief that your belongings are kind of the summary of all of your life's major decisions. And when you're in this phase of life, you chose to do this, and in this phase of life, you chose to do this. And so by choosing to get rid of things or keep things, it's not just tidying up your closet, but it's making an identity statement. This is the person I was, and I'm not that person anymore, and this is who I am now, and this is what feels in alignment now. And I think that that's such a beautiful thing. I had the intention at the start of the new year to kind of, clean out my closet and the whole thing, and I actually have been putting it out for months because it seems overwhelming, especially like if you don't have anywhere to start. So finally, after a while of me procrastinating, I was like, I'm just going to get the book. Maybe the book will motivate me and then I can get started. And I can attest that it made me feel so peaceful and just so unburdened. It really did feel like an identity statement, and I feel like I'm more in alignment with my identity now, which is not something that I say lightly. After my husband saw my closet, he's like, oh, I want to do it. And then I helped my grandma do it, and it's so fun. And all of us have said that it seemed overwhelming at first, but it felt so peaceful and very unburdening by the end of it. And we felt more like ourselves in a way, which is kind of a hefty statement for just cleaning out your closet. So by the end of this video, I want to give you kind of like steps. This is step 1. This is what you'll do. This is step 2. This is how you do it to kind of take the overwhelm aspect out of it. So I want to start by saying like what her philosophy is and kind of what some of the basic rules are. Then I want to get into the prep. How do you get started doing this? And then what is the actual process? So it's been a while since this book came out, so I think a lot of people know the basic philosophy, but I just want to reiterate kind of the depth of it. The depth and the meat of it is that cleaning out your closet or any type of your belongings is about making peace with your past. And so one way to make peace with your past is, I've heard a good definition of joy is an outward expression of inward peace. And so if you have peace with your past, then that will manifest itself as kind of joy in your belongings. And joy is a really great marker for how to determine what is in alignment with your identity and what is not. There are a bunch of questions of like, how do you know if you should get rid of something? And they'll say, if you haven't worn it in a year, get rid of it. Or if you just bought it, keep it. Or if it's this old and has these markers of wear, get rid of it. And there are all sorts of different things. There's like the hack, keep it on a hanger, and then every time you wear it, turn the hanger around. And if at the end of the year, none of the hangers are turned around, then go ahead and get rid of it. But it's like, that's not always true. Sometimes there's this really ratty piece of clothing that still brings you joy and you should keep it. Sometimes there's something that's brand new and you're not ever going to wear it. It doesn't feel like you. You got it because you felt like you should do it or something. And so then in those cases, those rules fall flat. However, when you choose to keep things because they bring you joy, then they end up resonating with your identity. And to imagine being filled your whole life, all of your belongings are only things that align with you and bring you joy. It is one of the most peaceful feelings that I have ever found. Garrett and I, and we did it to our storage unit, we did it to everything because we felt so peaceful after doing it. And one of the big questions to not ask is, do I need this item? Because it's kind of that frugal mindset that do I need this sort of thing that creates so much excess in the first place. It's kind of a paradox. You would think that being frugal would mean that you have less items, but being so frugal is what creates all of this excess. You're like, oh, I don't want to give to Goodwill this perfectly good thing, but it's not like you're throwing an item away. It's a flow. You had it for a while and now it's transitioning somewhere else. And it's all this flow. So you don't need to worry about like neglecting or being like wasteful, because it really is just a flow. It's just a transfer of energy. It's not like you're throwing it away and the energy of the piece is gone per se. And so, yeah, it's really that need question that gets in the way. So it's not, do you need it? You already have more than you need. So that question's already taken care of. You already have more than you need, so we don't need to ask, do I need this? The question is, does it bring you joy? Another thing that you're not going to try to ask, or you're not going to try to get down to a goal of items. Like, you don't want to try to get down to a goal that's like, by the end I will have 10 shirts and I will have 5 pants or whatever it is, because every person has a different click point, she calls it. There's a point where it feels right to you and the number of belongings feels right. For one person, that's 100 shoes. It feels right. For one person, that's 2 shoes, and that really feels right. And so a lot of times a better marker is to do it kind of by percentage. Like, a lot of times people will get down to anywhere between, they'll get down to 25% of what they had in between to like half of what they had. So somewhere in that range. And usually when you go by percentage, then it fits a little bit better for that person. She has a couple other rules. One, don't do any seasonal storage. Like, don't put your summer clothes away, because she talks about like, it'll take, like, maybe you don't even get your summer clothes out until August or whatever. And normally when you have to come up with these innovative storage solutions, it's because you have too much crap. And so try to get rid of your crap first and then see if you need extra storage solutions. The other thing she says about storage just don't try all these fancy things like, oh, I'll get a lazy Susan for the bathroom storage, and I'll get this perfect scarf hanger, and like there are tons of these. You've seen these storage solutions undoubtedly. And she's like, those are only needed when you have too much stuff, and then you're bringing in even more to your home. Instead of what you should be doing is getting rid of stuff that doesn't align, you're bringing more into your home as a means of organize the stuff that you don't even like. And another rule is, once you've kind of gone through all your clothes and you've got rid of things that don't bring you joy, do not give those to family members. You don't want to burden other people with those things. If they've explicitly asked, they said, I really like that sweatshirt, and you decide you're going to get rid of it, then you can give it to them. But they talk about, do not burden people with these things, because then they feel pressured to at least keep something. A lot of times there's kind of this, I feel pressure, I feel bad if I say no to this thing, and that creates kind of a bad thing. So as I was going through closets with other people, I found a really common trend, and that a lot of times when someone was given a hand-me-down, those very often, like 95% of the time, went into the not joy pile. And so you don't want to burden someone with something. 5% of the time it would bring them joy because they asked for it, but you don't want to burden people with stuff that you yourself didn't want. And then the other rule is, there shouldn't be anything in your clothing that still has tags on it. People have this kind of perception that like, oh, the resale value will be higher if I just keep the tags on, but that leads you to like never really wear it. So if you're going to keep something, the rule is take the tags off. If you have tights or something, get it out of the cardboard, because you want it to be ready to wear. Okay, so now that we've talked about the philosophy, I want to get into the prep work that goes into it. So when I personally did this, there were 2 steps I did the night before, and then there were 2 steps I did the morning of. So I want to talk about, so there's 2 steps that I chose to do the night before. And the reason I chose to do them the night before is because I really enjoy what's called the setup method. And so it's anytime I'm undertaking a big project, I like to do step 1 of that project the night before, because getting started is the hardest part. So if I just kind of make myself do step 1 the night before, I'm that much more committed and it's gonna get done. So when it comes to cleaning out your closet, the first kind of one of those step 1s is just cleaning your room. So I like to start with a clean room, tidy the room, make my bed, make sure that the room is all good because it's going to have a lot of stuff like taken out. The second thing is to take all of your clothes from all the rooms of the house. So if you've got clothes in the laundry or clothes in the spare room or clothes in the hall closet or wherever, get all the clothes gathered into that one room, which is probably your bedroom. And then you're going to sort them into these categories. So you're going to have a pile of tops, a pile of bottoms, a pile of things that are going to be hung up. That could be like dresses or it could be outerwear. A pile of socks, pile of underwear, pile of bags, pile of accessories, pile of special events, and pile of shoes. So those 9 piles. And we eventually will sort through them in that order. So she talks about it's important to get them from all the different rooms of the house, because a lot of people will think when they're cleaning out their closet that they're just cleaning out the closet. They do it by room instead of by category. But the problem is that when you do it by room instead of by category, you may fail to see some duplicates. Maybe you have a black coat in this closet and you have a black coat in the coat closet, but because you only cleaned out one closet, you kind of fail to see the full extent of the excess and all the duplicates. So get any seasonal storage you have. Do you have things in the garage, things in all these different closets, things under the bed? Like, get all the clothes and pile them up into those categories. So once you've taken everything out of its storage and taken everything off hangers and put them in their piles, I would also make a 10th pile that's all the storage solutions. So that would be predominantly hangers, maybe a shoe rack, maybe some bins you had in your closet, because there are definitely going to be some storage solutions that are not working and don't bring you joy. So this is a great time to get rid of those as well. Now that we've prepped those 2 steps the night before, the morning of, there are 2 more steps of things that we need to prep. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to put on either meditative music or no music. And she says that a lot of people are really tempted to put on like energizing music, like as if you were about to like clean or something. A lot of people have like cleaning music playlists. But she said it's important to reframe it as it's not about cleaning out a closet, but this is a spiritual experience of aligning your current like closet, your current belongings with who your current identity is. And so in order to do that, you need to be able to hear yourself think. And it's so great to put on meditative music to kind of get you in that space, to continually remind you that this is a spiritual experience of aligning your identity. And then the second thing you're going to do is you're going to look at that empty closet that you have now and visualize what do you want it to look like. It's important to have a benchmark of where you want to be at the end of this. Do you have 2 dressers, and maybe it'd be great to make more space and get rid of one of them if you could kind of have fewer clothes. Maybe there are 2 closets and you'd like to only use one, or maybe this top shelf had been used for this thing, but it would really bring you more joy if it was used for this other thing. And so just look at the closet and think, what would bring me joy about this closet from here on out? So now it comes to the process. What is the actual process? This is the point we've all been waiting for. So really, there's only one question you need to ask, and it's, does this item bring me joy? And you're going to try to ward off all other questions. Do I need this? Was this a gift? Would this friend be sad if I got rid of this? You're going to try to get rid of all those other things. It's just a matter of, does it bring you joy or not? If it's a sentimental item, but it makes you sad, don't keep it. That's not what the point of sentimental items are. You want to make sure that it brings you joy. So you've got these piles of clothes all around. You're going to start with your pile of tops. That's the pile that she says to start with. And you're going to pick up the item and say, does this bring me joy or not? And you're going to put it either into a joy pile or a not joy pile. And there are a couple types of items. There are the items that bring you joy. You see them coming and you're like, yes, I love this item. I love it. It's so great. It fits great. I love this. And it's so quick. You just instantly know. There are some items that come in the pile and you instantly know. You don't want it. It's ugly. It was a gift you didn't like. It doesn't fit. You instantly know you don't want it. There are some items that you're not sure about. You like things about them and you don't like things about them. You're like, oh, I really love the design of this shirt. It's so great, but it just doesn't fit right. I feel like it doesn't look good, but I just love this shirt, but it just doesn't like it. And whenever it's like you love it and you kind of don't like it, that's kind of a sign it doesn't bring you joy. You don't want to have a shirt that you feel like you don't live up to it. You know what I mean? Like, oh, the shirt's great, but it looks bad on me. And that makes you feel like kind of, doesn't make you feel joyful ultimately. And so any of the things that you kind of hem-haw about, I kind of had the policy with myself, I would just put it in the don't keep pile. I want to have things that I love and I instantly know I love them and I don't have to hem-haw about it. So you're going to go through your pile of tops. Once you get down to the joy and the not joy piles, you're going to take the not joy stuff, put it in a garbage bag, set it to the side. And then all the joy stuff, you're also just going to set to the side. You're not going to put anything back in the closet yet until all the piles of different categories of clothes are done. So then you're going to go through all the piles in that order. You go through the tops, go through the bottoms, the hung, all the different piles. And you probably also want to go through the hanger pile and this like a storage pile because there are going to be some hangers you do not like. You do not want to put those back in your closet. So you're going to go through all these piles and then you're going to put them all back in the empty closet all at once. When you can see, you can get a gauge for how much you kept, then you have a better understanding of what you want to put back in there. So remember the visualization, how you wanted it to look, and then put them back in that way. And this is the point where everyone I've done this with, we feel so peaceful. Just looking at the closet, you say, it feels like me, it feels spacious, I don't feel so burdened anymore. It just feels so peaceful and so joyful. And it's one of the best feelings, and I really underestimated how good it was going to feel. Okay, yeah, it brings me joy, but you're like, wow, this brings me joy. I mean, I don't know. It's like the whole philosophy is keep what brings you joy. But then when you see it all, you're like, wow, this brings me joy. Go figure. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. I'm obsessed with this. I've been, Marie Kondoing everything. I'm like really into it. This book came out years ago, but I am obsessed with it. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one.